Even before World War II ended, the U.S. alliance with the USSR had begun to unravel. The U.S. was upset that Joseph Stalin, the USSR leader, had signed a non-aggression pact with Germany in 1939. Stalin then blamed the Allies for not invading German-occupied Europe earlier than 1944. Driven by these disagreements, the two allies began to pursue opposing goals. Three people from experience are here to tell you their stories.
Animosity caused by political philosophy started with the spread of the U.S. democracy. Yalta Conference, a post-war plan. Leaders met from the U.S., SU, and Britain. Then came the creation of the United Nations, peacekeeping organization designed to stop the hating of each other, stop aggression for one another. They're supposed to treat each other as if they were brothers. The US and SU were on different tracks. The US suffered 400,000 deaths, but the cities, man, it still remained intact. And that's where it's at. The SU lost many cities and suffered 50 times the casualties. In the end, the war started to unfold. The two superpowers had their own post-war goals. Now see, I'ma bring it back, I'ma bring it back, yeah. I'ma bring it back. Now Jay, tell me where the course at.
Cold War in Europe. 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 Cold War in Europe.
United Nations International Organization. It was worldwide, no discrimination. The Soviet Union was put to the test. The Iron Curtain divided the East and the West. The Berlin Blockade was created by Stalin in response to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The Soviet Union saw NATO as a threat. This caused conflicts that people regret. The war is hard, 4 countries in debt. The war is just starting, you ain't seen nothing yet. 1948, Allies replaced the German currency. US creates a problem they would soon see. Soviet Union created the Berlin Blockade. Berlin screamed for help and wanted someone's aid. Here comes the US with the Berlin airlift. This brought Berlin back with the great shift. US didn't drop bombs, but they dropped food. This put Berlin people in a great mood. US dropping food was good propaganda. Also working with the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan was the plan for the countries. It was tricky not to start World War III. Countries didn't want to fight, they wanted to be free. Stalin didn't like the idea of democracy. Stalin and Roosevelt couldn't agree. Instead of being friends, they became enemies. 1948, Allies replaced the German currency. US creates a problem they would soon see. Soviet Union created the Berlin Blockade. Berlin screamed for help and wanted someone's aid.
Cold War in Europe. Cold War in Europe. Cold War in Europe. Cold War in Europe.
As World War II drew to a close, the Soviet Union kept the Nazis on their toes. Nazis were pushed back to Eastern Europe, cause the days and the times of Nazis were up. Stalin ignored the Yalta Agreement and his dollars secured the communist government. Unfortunately, on April 12, 1945, Franklin D. Roosevelt suddenly died. Here comes Harry Truman to save the day, cause people are struggling in every single way. Truman, Stalin, Churchill met at Potsdam, Germany, cause Truman is about to start learning, see? Truman pressed Stalin to permit free election, but Stalin refused for communist protection. President Truman needed an
arrangement so he could adopt a policy called containment. Truman Doctrine supported the rejection. Truman believed he was making corrections. Turkey and Greece wanted to get paid, so $400 million were paid for their aid in the Cold War. There was no such thing as compliance. Soviet Union created their alliance. Warsaw Pact, that's a fact. Bring it back, it's like that. Back to the rap.
Meanwhile, back in the United States, the Un-American Committee chose people's fates. Then there was the birth of McCarthyism. This was the people who hated communism. Joseph McCarthy said he had names, the names of communists that would put him in fame. In the end, he was lying, he should be ashamed. He should have realized Cold War is not a game.
Cold War in Europe. 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 Cold War in Europe.